Victor had just finished learning a skill he bought for 100,000 naira online on how to become a travel agent. He bought the course 3 months ago and he was done with it, but not satisfied. When he wanted to learn the skill, there had been cheaper courses he could buy, but he bought the expensive one because they had been promised they would teach them the business side of it and how to get clients. The coach didn't keep this promise. When reminded by Victor, he said the business side is that he should create his own course and sell. Also, the group he put them in, he hardly answers questions himself. Members of the group answer his questions once in a while when they are in a great mood. As a result, he had many unanswered questions. He felt cheated, but he decided to make the knowledge of what he had learnt count. He decided to start advertising his business in his environment. He stays in a small town, so getting clients was quite tough, as the little number of people who wanted to travel out preferred to go to the experienced ones. He created a banner and placed it in front of his house. Some days later, a group of young men came to him and told him he must join the Association of Travel Agents. It first seemed strange to him, but on a second thought, it occurred to him that the association might give answers to his many questions, so he agreed to join them. He realized after 3 to 4 meetings that the association members avoided answering his questions. They don't do any lecture. Rather, their meetings are solely based on organizing themselves to attend social functions by members. He started missing meetings because he wasn't getting what he wanted. 3 members visited him at home and asked why he had been missing meetings. He told them they heard information. The members told him it isn't peculiar to the directors of the meeting and that it is important one keeps one business secret. In this business, you can't afford to share your business secrets. We run it codedly, else you will regret it, said one of them. Victor had wondered why such culture. He wanted to ask more, but they already switched over to another topic and they feigned seriousness with the topic. Victor continued the business. He had gotten his first client, but that was just one client in 2 months. He wanted more and been doing a lot of research. He had resumed going back to the travel agents meetings and he had become friends with the 3 guys from the organization that visited him when he was away. He has tried many times to ask the same questions from them in different expressions, different locations, and different styles, yet they always avoided giving him answers. It later dawned on him that they were really serious about keeping secrets. He decided not to ask them again. They were doing well in their business, and being friends with them, he had thought they would help him unlock access to get his answers, but they would rather discuss football and women matters with him whenever he was with them. He intensified his research. He followed finance teachers on all his social media platforms. His patronage increased from 1 client per month to 3 clients. He tried to figure out the things he did that brought those patronages. He wrote them down and researched more to know how to create a multiplier effect from that same step. His friends from the Travel Consult Club started avoiding him. They would greet him, but when it was time to talk to them, they would have an excuse to leave. Because he knew he wouldn't get answers from anywhere around him, he intensified his research, which in turn sharpened his forecast skills. He would predict a result that an action of his would produce in his business, and it would turn out so. He began to rinse and repeat such actions. Later on, he began to have many clients, so many that he had to hire an assistant. His keen research skills and personal observation of what works and what doesn't work had helped him. Soon, his fame spread as an expert in the business. Members of the travel agent club began to find a way to be friends with him in order to know his secret, including his three former friends from the group. At first, he wanted to serve them from their cup of selfishness by not giving them answers to their business questions, but he decided to use another strategy. When his friends asked him questions, he would give them a bit of the information, after which he would stop talking. When the friends insist he tells them, he replies them that is the only information he can share, and he reminds them of how they didn't even bother giving him answers at all during his screen-on days. They had apologized to him many times, but he was determined to do what he had in mind. The three friends would go home and practice that tiny information he gave them, and truly, they would see some positive changes in their business. They would get happy and request to see Victor again. Victor would give them appointment. They would come visit again, and they would release another bit of business secret and pretend to be very busy. Of course, they would accept because their respect for him had grown since they realized he was commanding figures that they haven't commanded in their long years of business. Sometimes, when they were talking, his manager would come to him to give a report of their latest contract, and the three friends always have to stifle their awe for the result Victor commanded. After getting the information from him, they would run home again and practice what he had told them. When it works, something keeps pulling them back to him to get more, because they noticed that their so-called business expansion was still a child's play compared to Victor's results. Soon, they unconsciously started broadcasting Victor to other members of the club. They would discuss their awe for him after meetings among themselves, and people would hear. But when they draw close to them to get Victor's contact details, their selfish nature steps in, and they don't give out the number. Victor was no longer attending meetings, so it was hard to contact him. The three friends went to him the next time. After exchanging pleasantries, they wanted to ask him another question. How come you people are selfish? You have always been selfish, though I am not surprised, said Victor. The three friends looked in amazement. Why did you call us selfish? One of them asked. I heard what happened in the meeting, how you were holding information about how to reach me from other members. I have given you free information that you didn't pay for all the while, and you want to enjoy that alone? Asked Victor painfully. We are sorry, they apologized. It is not a matter of being sorry. I want each of you to tell people about me this week and give them my contact. Without that, I owe you no answer to any of your business enquiries, he said, and walked out angrily. The three friends faced one another to comment upon what just happened. One of them said he would never come back to him again. The other two told him not to be foolish and reminded him how staying close to him had been of great economic value to them. They decided to do what he asked them to do. All through the week, they consciously broadcast Victor and his business multiplication skills, coupled with the fact that he gives out information for free. After a while, Victor has his phone bombarded with calls. He smiled. He added them to a WhatsApp group and gave them a free teaching session. He gave them 2 weeks to implement, and they all came back with testimonials. They wanted more. This time, Victor decided they were going to pay 50,000 naira each for the lecture. Some of them left the group angrily, but they later attempted to come back, begging Victor for access into the group again. This had happened when they found out that the result of the tips he gave them for their business has had such a positive impact on their business. Something told them that it meant he had more to give. They started paying. His friends came to see him one day after they had the latest development. As people who helped him publicize, they were expecting to henceforth get massive information from him for free. To their shock, Victor had told them they also had to pay the 50,000 naira others were paying, as he was no longer ready to give them any free business secret. One of them accused him of being wicked, and as a response, he replied, "I am not wicked, I am just a smart businessman. Unlike you, I shared my secrets with people, and that has brought me to wealth. Hate me or not, but you can't deny my results. When you are ready for your payment, you let me know," he said, and went in. The three friends stared on in shock, and just there, one of them brought out his son and did the transfer. The others didn't know what he was doing until he told them he had transferred his money. The other two felt disappointed, but because they liked proving to one another that they were also doing well financially, they brought out their phones and did their own transfers that minute. Victor smiled in his room as the sound of their payments notified him. "You can't resist a boss," he said.